Hey everyone, Brian here from Vintage Classic Specialist. Happy Wednesday, everyone. It is time for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So I'll come back to this later, but if you saw the thumbnail, you know, or probably inferred, that I did not drive this car today, and I will talk about that and show you what's going on. I did fix the oil leak. Again, I'll talk about that car a little later, and I'll start it for you, so stay tuned for that because it sounds bitchin'. Anyway, why don't we go ahead and start with the 67 Beetle here. And as you can see, this thing, like every day, looks more and more like a car. So among other things, the deck lid went on today. And yeah, looks amazing. Love that color, guys. Incredible. So that went on. The assist straps and dome light went on. You can see those here. These Wolfsburg West reproductions of those things are all really nice. They look, the pull straps look pretty darn close to original, and the original ones are always all faded and typically cracked and look pretty terrible. So definitely not something we want to try and use on a restoration this nice. So there you go. So those went in. Let's see. Well, you probably can't see it maybe from this side. Oh, there we go. Not a big deal, but something. Voltage regulator went in. So again, Rafa worked a little bit today on the electrical system. Let's see what else. I think he also finished assembling and installed, yes, the motor wiper assembly unit. You can see it all up in there, and of course it's all wired, looking all nice and tidy up in there. So yeah, that's all installed and wired. So yeah, just lots of little things like that going on today. Oh, another big one, actually not such a little one, big one, is the headlights. Look at that, guys. This thing's got headlights on it now. Holy cow. So we had sent out the headlight buckets, the parts that the seal beams actually sit in that allow you to adjust the tilt and so on of the headlights. So we'd sent those out for powder coating, and then Rafa went ahead and put those back together today, freshly powder coated with all new hardware and stuff like that. Installed them in the car, and then put on the exterior trim rings. And back a little ways here. Yeah, I can't wait to see this thing with the hood on. It's gonna look amazing. Well, and bumpers and just everything on this car. This thing keeps on getting better and better, and this color, Java green, just such an amazing color, guys. Pretty much never get tired of looking at it. Although that's an amazing color too, and so is that one. And they're all amazing, guys. It's really hard to pick like a favorite VW color. They had so many that were so amazing. I'd say Java green's probably up there, but it would be really hard to pick. Strato Silver, which was used on Oval Windows, is another one of my favorites. Pearl Gray, which is the color of my split window. There's just so many colors, guys. If I had to pick one, I would be very hard pressed to do so. But anyway, luckily I don't have to. And let's see what else. Oh yeah, the inside rear view mirror went in. You can see that there. Yeah, Wolfsburg makes nice reproductions of those too, so we use those because usually the original ones are all pitted, and a lot of times the glass is cracked or is the reflective part of the glass is failing, etc. So they just look pretty bad usually. So there you go, guys. I think those are kind of the main things that happened on this one today. There is the spring also installed in here. I'm not going to lift it up right now, but take my word for it, it does have a spring on it that actually holds it up when it's open. So yeah, that is pretty much it on that one. Okay, now let's talk about this guy here, and then I'll start it, and then I'll probably talk about it some more. So if you saw the episode yesterday, you know that I had a fairly massive oil leak at one of the fittings on the external oil cooler, which sits up underneath the passenger, or the driver's side package tray there. So painstakingly this morning, I removed that whole assembly, the fan and the oil cooler assembly, and managed not to get oil all over myself or all over too much. I kind of got took the hoses, disconnected those, and then stuffed some plugs in them and stuff like that. So actually I didn't make nearly as much of a mess as I had anticipated. So that's good. But anyway, so when I got it out, I removed the fitting in question, and it looks like whoever installed that fitting in there, I don't know if they cross-threaded it or something, but like one thread in there was almost gone, like destroyed kind of. And so, and then also they did have thread tape on, but I don't think the thread tape really went in far enough. It might have only gone in like a turn or so as far as the male and female threads engaging. And so at first I was going to buy a new cooler, and they're like $270. But what I decided to do was to buy a tap, and that fitting on those happens to be 1/2 inch NPT, so it's a pipe thread. So I ran to my local hardware store that has that kind of stuff, not something Home Depot would usually have in stock. So I ran to McFadden, picked up a 1/2 inch NPT tap, and ran a tap through that port on the oil cooler, being sure not to get any metal shavings, obviously, into the cooler itself. And yeah, I ran the tap in a decent ways, and actually now the fitting goes in probably like a couple more turns than it was. So it was actually, the fitting was only engaging a few turns. And again, one of those turns was pretty much completely mucked up, and it didn't really have adequate thread tape. So between tapping it so that the fitting went in deeper and putting thread tape, far enough down the male portion that it would, seal against the female portion when it's threaded in, it's not leaking, guys. So very happy about that. And got that back in, and obviously fired it up, checked for leaks, made sure everything was good. And then at that point, pretty much went to starting to put the wheels and tires back on this thing and set it back on the ground. So did that. And the next thing that I wasn't sure was, I had kind of manually tried to shift the car through the gears, just, sitting stationary. And I could tell it just didn't really feel like it was going into all the gears, even just sitting, without the motor running or anything. I could tell that the shifter needed some adjustment. And so a couple things, guys. One is, so here is the shifter. It's an Impy knockoff of a Hurst shifter, the one that have the trigger that you pull for reverse lockout. So a couple things. One is, and this is going to be hard to see probably on here, but on the side closest to my finger over here, you can see, or maybe you can't, that the guide plate on the bottom here has some wear on it, and it's making it travel in kind of a funny path on the 3/4 side of the shift. And I could actually feel that trying to select those gears, that the shift lever was doing something kind of weird when swinging on that side, which again is the 3/4 side. So that was one thing. And so I thought, okay, well, we might just have to replace this shifter. It seems like it was wore out. It wasn't a new one, obviously. The thing's got some miles on it, and it's kind of wore out. So the next thing that I did then to sort of test that theory was I took a stock shifter and installed it. And when I pulled that one out, I noticed that the little, actually, let me grab a light. Okay, sorry about that, guys. So I noticed that the cup here on the end of the shift rod seemed to be pretty far back, like towards the back of the car in the opening. So the transmission right now is in neutral. And when the transmission is in neutral, this cup should be, more or less, at least like close-ish to centered on this opening here. And as you can see, it's pretty far toward the back. And I'm not going to do it now because I don't want to get my fingers all, oops, my flashlight's trying to die. I don't want to get my fingers all greasy, but what happens is when you try and select like third gear, for example, third gear on this thing, it's essentially the opposite of what the shifter is doing. So third gear is right and forward, which means that the cup here is left and back, right? Because of the pivot here, this ball moves the opposite direction of the gear selector itself. Anyway, so when you put this thing in third gear, the cup is like way back here, guys, and it looks like there's just not enough travel or adjustment in the shifter or in any shifter. I don't think it's specific to this MP1, because I had the same issue when I tried to put the stock one in, is there's just not enough adjustment to get the thing into third gear because of where this cup is sitting. So again, instead of being more or less centered in reverse and then going kind of forward and back and left and right from there as you're selecting the gears, it's way far back. So I believe that this car may have the wrong shift rod in it. So probably the first thing that I'll do tomorrow, or first thing that I'll do tomorrow on this car at least, is to go ahead and pull that shift rod out. And I suspect it is not the correct one for this car. And what I might do is chop the end of it off, the transmission end, and put one of those adjusters on it. And so those adjusters, you weld those on, and what they allow you to do is they allow you to adjust the shift rod fore and aft, so you can kind of lengthen and shorten it in this direction. And you can also kind of control the orientation of it, so like which way the cup is pointed, sort of left and right. So it gives you a lot of flexibility as far as being able to dial in your shifting. So I think that is what this car is going to need here in order to be able to shift well. And it's possible that this MP shifter may actually work fine. Again, first I thought it was the wear and tear on the shifter, but after trying a stock shifter in here and still not having any luck, and then seeing where this thing is located, I'm pretty sure it's actually a shift rod issue versus a shifter issue per se. So yeah, that is what foiled me today, guys. Trust me, I was all ready to take this thing at least for like a little parking lot spin. And yeah, I couldn't get all the gears. I could get maybe like 2 gears. I think I was getting, when I monkeyed around with it, I think I was getting maybe like first gear and I don't know, even remember fourth or something like that. And sometimes I could get it in reverse. It was just a big mess. So anyway, yep, hopefully tomorrow, if I decide to work on this car a lot tomorrow, I will sort out the shifting issue and take it for a spin. So we'll see. But yeah, these shift rods are kind of a pain in the ass to pull out. So not very excited about that, but that's okay. It's one of those things we end up sort of doing all the time. Okay, anyway, that's enough of that. Why don't we go ahead and fire this thing up real quick here, just so we can at least hear it running. And if you listen real close, you can hear the fuel pump. There we go. Very likes to rev a lot. There we go. Told you I'd start it up for you. I did sync the carbs and stuff like that. It idles. It seems like it's a little cold-blooded. It doesn't really like to idle until it gets warmed up a little bit. So I may have some more fussing to do with the carburetors, and I may turn the idle speed up a little bit so that it's not trying to die all the time on him when it's cold. But anyway, those are the type of things you can really only dial in once you're driving it, and you kind of get it up to temperature and stuff like that, which hopefully maybe will happen tomorrow. Just again, kind of depends on how much time I decide to dedicate to this car tomorrow versus that car or the Baja Bug, or who knows, maybe that one or that one. We got a lot of cars around here to choose from. But anyway, guys, that's actually it for today. So thank you all very much for watching. We will see you again tomorrow. Bye.